Welcome back to the Ikon Technologies Podcast. 2025 was supposed to be the year the car business finally caught its breath. We saw transaction times hit record lows and sales headcounts nearly double at some stores. By every traditional metric, we should be winning, but the data is telling a different story. Customer satisfaction is actually dropping. It turns out you can't out-hire a broken process, and you can't speed your way out of a bad experience. Joining me today is Jeremy Okler, VP of Business Development at Ikon. Jeremy has spent years in the trenches of dealership operations before stepping into the world of high-growth automotive tech. He's at the forefront of helping dealers bridge the gap between rapid sales and genuine customer satisfaction. So he's the perfect guy to help us dive into the widening gap between speed and satisfaction and how the best operators are using precision, not just more people, to close it. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
So let's get started with something sort of counterintuitive. CDK is reporting that deals are actually getting done faster industry-wide, but customer satisfaction is falling. How do you make sense of that?
Well, I think it's been trending that way that, 6 weeks before they ever show up at the store or reach out to the dealer, they've already done the research, they already know the vehicle they want. And then us as operators do a really good job of messing it up from there, right? They want to really visit one store. And so when you look at what happens when they get to the store, that's where the operational kind of breakdown happens. And, that's why Ikon's technology is so great at helping dealers manage that.
So more deals are getting done in under 2 hours, but faster isn't enough on its own to create that satisfaction?
Yeah, because again, why are they coming there? 80% of the time they're coming to the store to test drive the vehicle. And what's the one reason that they hate coming to the dealerships? It's because we take too much time. And so again, the processes, the old processes of we have to bring people in the store, we got to seat them and sheet them and all these things before we actually go show them the car that they want. The other thing is that if they decide that maybe that car has a bad Carfax or something that they didn't know about when they were doing their research, how quickly they can move to another vehicle. So when you combine our technology, that's where we give these dealers so many options and their staff out there to where they don't have to disconnect from the consumer, and they're using a digital retailing tool to be more effective. So that said, the stats show that nearly 6 in 10 buyers are reporting experiencing a problem during their purchase. So when the odds of a problem-free visit are worse than a coin flip, speed isn't going to save you alone. What does that actually cost a dealer? Well, it costs them thousands, right? Because again, the reason they're coming to you is you had the best price or you have the only one, right? Those two things have never changed of why they visit our dealerships. So we do a great job, again, of trying to fit them into a mold that is, 1980s versus 2020s. And I think that's where the inherent problem is. Yes, you can, stumbling and fumbling, finding the car, finding the keys, all those things that people hate to see, right? And real life examples of what happens in a store is we're not appointment ready a lot of times, right? So again, where is that car? Where is the key? Is it gassed up, cleaned up, ready to go? Or are we fumbling around trying to find it? It's one of 5 different vehicles that are out there. We don't know where the keys are, and this person had an appointment. So again, speed is one thing, but then again, you have to transition into how are you going to make that a customer for life? And that's another piece in which the dealers are kind of missing it a little bit right now.
Yeah, so I think we all realize that there's friction that's inherent to the process, like negotiating the price, financing, F&I paperwork. We sort of accept that. That stuff takes time and it always will. But then there's that operational friction, the time that salespeople spend looking for the car, the dead battery on the test drive, the audit that pulls your managers off the floor for half a day. That's the friction nobody should be accepting because it's completely within our control. What are some of the other things that you see happening in the dealership that are causing unnecessary friction that can be solved?
Well, I think one of the bigger things, to your point, right? You're never going to get what you want for that vehicle if they walk out there and the battery's dead, right? So that goes back into the appointment readiness. I think on the flip side of it is we've done a really good job of finding the vehicle. We've done a good job of negotiating, right? They came in on the internet price, all those kind of things. But then we typically will have that backup into finance. And so what are you doing with that customer there when maybe it's a pre-delivery portion of time there, but that's really where most great dealerships
have their sales to service process, right? So when we're waiting to go into finance, we want to introduce them to service. And I think that that's one of the things that is lacking in dealerships. It's been lacking for years, that everybody has a process, but we're really not good at managing that process. And so with our technology, it's really great to be able to automate that. We can see exactly who's been introduced to service, right? We have a white labeled dealer app, right? They bought from you for a reason. So having your name and lights on their phone for the next 3 to 5 years is a really good thing, because we all know that there's no more money to be made on the vehicle, right? The compression is huge. The knowledge and the research that's being done to know exactly what the pricing is for a vehicle. So it's really about winning them over and bringing them into your service, right? We want to be passionate about driving that customer back to your dealership, because again, as we all know, the OEM makes money 2 ways, right? Sell a car, sell a part. That's it. So they don't care where they go. But you as a dealer, right? You want them to come back to you. You've invested in them, right? That retention tool is huge. So when we look at how do we retain them? Well, we got to get them back to our service department. The old NADA stat, right? If they visit our dealership 3 times for service, it's about 90% chance they're going to buy from you again. So we want to play on those odds. So again, when we talk about setting up that first service visit, are they still signing a book? Are we booking something out 6 months from now when they drive, and they're going to need an oil change in 3 months? I mean, how are we communicating with that customer to bring them back into finance? So that introduction, that sales to service process, where we know fixed ops is the place where all the money is going to be made, right? Our fixed ops absorption rate, you're hearing that a lot more. That's what people are focused on. So I think when we have a backlog of waiting to get into finance, that's where we see a lot of opportunity from an operational standpoint to really do a good job of automating that sales to service process.
Yeah, and that has several different impacts, doesn't it? It has to do with the CSI score, because the customer is going to get asked, were you introduced to the service department? Do you know how to book service? And the second question is, what's the customer lifetime value at play here?
Yeah, you're looking at, upwards of $10,000 in that lifetime. And then that's not even counting all the referrals, because aren't we all just looking for a great dealership that'll sell us cars, service our vehicle, take care of our friends and family? I mean, I would scream from the rooftops, when I have that. That's what you want as a dealer, is you want everybody coming there because you have that kind of ease of process, but more importantly, you're organized, right? You have an ability to communicate with that customer, right, before they even understand that they need service, right? And that's what's great about it, is we all speak and we all talk to each other via SMS, text messages now. So who's controlling that conversation is extremely important for dealers today. Is it going to be the OEM that controls that conversation, or is it going to be the dealer themselves? So we really are passionate, again, about driving your customer back to your dealership and you controlling that conversation to invite them back to service, regardless of if they're in your primary marketing area or not, regardless if it was a new or used vehicle. That's where we really want to win with the customer in that life cycle way in which we talk.